AK Interactive has released a new line of paint. This paint is called Quick Gen, similar to 3rd Gen, but this has been developed for batch painting of gaming miniatures. Most of the time when you play a game, you have to paint a lot of figures, sometimes a whole army. And you want to get it done fast and get them onto the board. So you do what's called batch painting. Batch painting is done with specific paint developed to paint quick, to get these guys done and impart a really nice three-dimensional finish to them. So let's take a look at AKI Quick Gen. We'll paint a couple figures. I picked out a figure that's black and a figure that's white. I figure we'll go with the basics. And I have Quick Gen White Shadow and Night Black. We'll apply it and see how they look. I used pre-made bases from Gamer's Grass just so that I could get these figures done really quickly. So let's take a look at AKI Interactive Quick Gen Paint. AKI Interactive refers to the way you put Quick Gen Paint on as a contrast technique. And this is a nice brochure that they put out about this paint. Highly recommend checking it out. It's probably on their website. This first paragraph basically says it all. It says these paints embody the concept of quick contrast painting. It flows naturally across a surface, accumulating in details and creating a sense of depth in one coat. Designed for miniature painters and RPGs, war games, and board games. They enhance miniature details without requiring advanced technique, just a brush. Ideal for those who want to paint their armies quickly and efficiently without sacrificing quality. Your game figure is ready in minutes. So we'll see if that's true. AKI Quick Gen has an advanced formula, they say. We'll see how the formula is. There's 80 colors in the fantasy range. There's also a military range with 9 colors and 6 metallics and a medium. There's the color chart. There is the metallic and the military color chart and the medium. The medium is basically the medium that's used to suspend the pigment. It's great for thinning it down. You don't want to use water. There's a step-by-step on how to do it. There's a list of the military sets which were done in coordination with Warlord Games, World War II sets. There's the War Game sets here, also fantasy. AKI Quick Gen. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sets in different quantities. So let's take a look and we're going to try this out. AKI Quick Gen Paint is an acrylic-based paint. In other words, it's not water-based. It has a medium that's available to do anything you need to do. With that in mind, you need to pick the proper palette. And in this case, I would suggest using a dry palette. I have a paper palette, I have a wet palette, and what I call a dry palette. Use the dry palette and put a little medium there to mix down if you need to. You don't want to use a wet palette because then water would get mixed into the paint, and I think that would destroy the flow properties, the whole idea, the exercise here. So also get yourself some nice brushes. For this application, we're going to use a broad brush probably to put the overall shading on, and then probably some finer brushes to do any detail painting. So let's take a look at AKI Quick Gen Paint. Let's test the theory and see how this AKI Quick Gen works. Let's do a little bit of quick painting. We'll use this Stormtrooper. See, he's all white, so I got white shadow. We're going to wash or basically paint each section with this paint and make everything jump or contrast. I have the medium here if I need it. It's recommended to prime your figure white, and I agree with that. I think that it's easier to tone things down than to brighten them up. So I prime white. So I'll pour some of this into the palette. I'm going to use a number 1 brush, and I think I'll use the larger 2 on the other figure I have that has much broader surface. Okay, so let's do some contrast batch painting on the Stormtrooper. AKI Quick Gen Paints do exactly what they say. They give the gamer a quick way to paint a batch of miniatures quickly and provide a nicely shaded finish. A few hints would be that this is basically high contrast painting, so be sure to prime your figures white for the best effect. Also, use the paint's medium, not water, to adjust your paint. When you put the paint down on the figure, make sure to use an even coat. Don't be tempted to go back and backtrack and paint over it. You have to put it all on at once and let it dry. Then you can go back and paint over it. It really did only take minutes to paint a figure, so I can actually see finishing an army really quickly with this paint.